Somewhere in the world, a person sits down to work, the laptop is open, the task is clear, yet something strange happens. A hand slowly reaches for the phone, not because the person consciously decided to pick it up, but because something inside the brain has already made a calculation. In less than half a second, the brain asks a question it repeats thousands of times every day. Is this worth the effort? If the answer is yes, attention stays. If the answer is no, the mind begins searching for something easier. And in the modern world, something easier is always waiting: a notification, a message, a short video, an endless scroll. What most people don't realize is that this tiny calculation quietly shapes their lives. It determines whether a project gets finished, whether someone exercises, or whether the mind drifts from distraction to distraction. But the strange part is that the same brain avoiding effort today is also capable of craving it tomorrow. The difference isn't motivation, it's chemistry. The human brain evolved thousands of years ago in a world where survival required conserving energy. Food was scarce and danger was constant. So the brain developed a simple rule: spend the least energy for the highest reward. That system still runs today. The difference is that modern technology has learned how to exploit it. Apps, games, and social media platforms are carefully designed to capture attention by stimulating the brain's reward circuits. Deep inside the brain sits a structure called the nucleus accumbens, often described as the brain's motivation engine. It runs on a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine is widely misunderstood as the pleasure chemical, but in reality it is more closely tied to anticipation. It motivates the brain to pursue rewards that might appear. This is why uncertainty can be so powerful. Each scroll on social media might reveal something interesting, funny, or surprising. Because the brain doesn't know what comes next, dopamine is released to keep searching. Over time, constant stimulation begins to change the brain. When dopamine spikes happen too frequently, the brain adapts by reducing the number of dopamine receptors available. This process, known as downregulation, effectively turns down the volume of the reward system. As a result, more stimulation is required just to feel the same level of interest. Videos feel less exciting, scrolling lasts longer, and activities that once felt rewarding, like reading, exercising, or studying, begin to feel boring and difficult to start. This is why many people believe they lack discipline, when in reality their reward system has simply been recalibrated. Fortunately, the brain has another remarkable ability: neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means the brain constantly rewires itself based on repeated behaviors. The more a person practices certain actions, the stronger the neural pathways supporting those actions become. If someone repeatedly seeks instant gratification, the brain becomes efficient at finding it. But if someone practices focus, persistence, and delayed gratification, those pathways grow stronger instead. One approach to restoring balance is often called a dopamine reset. Despite the name, it doesn't remove dopamine. Instead, it temporarily reduces the most intense and effortless sources of stimulation, such as endless scrolling, short-form videos, and constant notifications. At first, the brain reacts with restlessness and boredom because it has become accustomed to constant stimulation. This discomfort often convinces people the process is failing. In reality, the brain is adjusting. After several days, dopamine receptors begin recovering sensitivity. Activities that once felt dull begin to feel engaging again. Reading can hold attention longer. Exercise produces a stronger sense of satisfaction. And even simple activities like walking outside feel more refreshing. This shift reveals an important difference between pleasure and satisfaction. Pleasure is immediate and effortless, but fades quickly. Satisfaction usually follows effort and progress, yet it lasts much longer. When people accomplish difficult tasks, the brain releases a richer combination of chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, creating a deeper sense of reward. Another change occurs between two major systems in the brain: the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. The limbic system drives impulses and immediate reactions, while the prefrontal cortex handles planning, reasoning, and self-control. Instant gratification strengthens the limbic system. Delayed gratification strengthens the prefrontal cortex. Each time someone chooses effort over distraction, the brain strengthens the circuits responsible for long-term thinking. Environment also plays a powerful role. Human behavior is strongly influenced by surroundings. If a phone sits beside the bed, it will likely be checked first thing in the morning. If distractions remain constantly visible, they eventually capture attention. Small environmental changes, placing the phone in another room while working, preparing healthy meals ahead of time, or leaving books where scrolling once happened, can make beneficial behaviors easier to begin. Social environments matter as well. Habits spread through groups. When people spend time around individuals who value focus and productivity, those behaviors become easier to adopt. Over time, the brain becomes shaped not only by personal choices but also by the patterns present in daily interactions. All of this leads to an important realization: the struggle with focus is rarely permanent. The brain adapts to whatever conditions it experiences most often. With the right conditions, the same reward system that once chased endless stimulation can rediscover intrinsic motivation. The desire to act because the activity itself feels meaningful. Sometimes the process begins with a simple experiment, temporarily removing one major source of easy stimulation for a week. At first there may be restlessness and boredom, but gradually clarity returns. The reward system recalibrates, effort feels less threatening, and focus becomes easier. Many people who experience this shift realize the problem was never a lack of discipline. Their brain had simply been overwhelmed by constant stimulation. The human brain was never designed to serve endless streams of distraction. It evolved to explore, build, and create. When the reward system begins functioning the way it was meant to, effort no longer feels like constant struggle. It begins to feel like purpose. Is your phone the first thing you reach for in the morning and the last thing you see at night? Do you find yourself scrolling endlessly, only to realize an hour has passed and you've accomplished nothing? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Our brains are being rewired by constant digital stimulation, and it's destroying our ability to focus. But what if I told you there's a way to fight back, to reclaim your attention and achieve deep, meaningful work? Stick around, because we're about to dive into the science of focus and give you practical strategies to win the war against distraction. So, let's talk about the real culprit here: dopamine. Every notification, every like, every new video gives your brain a tiny hit of this pleasure chemical. It feels good, so you keep coming back for more. This creates a vicious cycle where your brain craves constant, easy stimulation, making it nearly impossible to focus on tasks that offer a delayed reward, like reading a book or working on a big project. The solution: a dopamine reset. This isn't about giving up your phone forever. It's about intentionally starving your brain of cheap dopamine for a set period, maybe a day, or even just a few hours. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, and resist the urge to consume any digital media. Go for a walk, read a physical book, or just sit with your thoughts. It will feel uncomfortable at first, even boring, but that boredom is the sound of your brain healing. After this reset, normal activities will start to feel more engaging and rewarding again. Now, a dopamine reset is a great start, but we need to build long-term focus muscles. The part of your brain responsible for this is the prefrontal cortex, your internal CEO. We need to train it. One of the most powerful exercises is mindfulness. This doesn't mean you have to become a monk. Just take 5 minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will gently guide it back. Each time you do this, you're doing a bicep curl for your prefrontal cortex. Another fantastic tool is the Pomodoro technique. It's simple. Work for 25 minutes with 0 distractions, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 rounds, take a longer break. This trains your brain to sustain focus in manageable sprints, making large tasks feel less overwhelming. Beyond training your brain, you need to design your environment for success. If you're trying to quit cookies, you don't keep them on the kitchen counter, right? The same goes for digital distractions. Make them inconvenient. Move social media apps off your home screen and into a folder on the last page. Use website blockers on your computer during work hours. Create a dedicated workspace that is for work only, no scrolling, no YouTube, no exceptions. When you enter that space, your brain knows it's time to focus. Also optimize your physical environment. Good lighting, a comfortable chair, and a clutter-free desk can dramatically reduce mental friction and make it easier to get into a state of flow. Finally, let's supercharge your habits. Instead of relying on willpower, which is a finite resource, let's use some clever behavioral psychology. First up is habit stacking. This means linking a new habit you want to form with an existing one. For example, after my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes. Or, after I finish brushing my teeth, I will plan my top 3 priorities for the day. The old habit acts as a trigger for the new one, making it almost automatic. Next, we have temptation bundling. This is where you pair something you need to do with something you want to do. For example, you only listen to your favorite podcast while you're at the gym, or you only watch your favorite Netflix show while you're folding laundry. This makes the less desirable task more appealing and helps you build consistency without feeling like a chore. By combining a dopamine reset, training your prefrontal cortex, designing your environment, and using smart habit strategies, you can break free from the cycle of distraction. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Start small, be consistent, and you will regain control over your attention. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve when you can truly focus. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more tips on living a more intentional life. See you in the next one.